Okay, so Axel, you asked me, can Grubby do it? I said, yes, he can. Making me look smart there for once. Going ahead and taking that game off of Oz. I believe he has what it takes to go ahead and win the series as well, but we're going to have to see facing off against one of the greatest Protoss in the world.
Yeah, anything can happen. They are tied 1-1, that is Oz and Grubby. And before we jump into game number 3, we're going to look at a quick engagement from the last game as it's pulled up on your screen pretty soon here. It was an engagement in the middle of the game, near the mid game, I guess is the best way to describe it. Engagement in the middle of the map. What happened was War Prism going on in the main base of Oz, and look at these force fields from Grubby. Absolutely beautiful. Watch these Immortals, watch these force fields. Grubby has the intuition. He's like, okay, these Immortals can't retreat if I put the force fields here and here. And look at these Immortals, look at those results, look at those sentries. They're trapped. They're going to die. Grubby took the advantage with his engagement and then ended up taking the game. So awesome play from Grubby as we jump into game number 3, and the map is going to be on Entombed Valley as we get into the game. And Tumba, why don't you go ahead and introduce? You're so good at it.
Absolutely. The force was strong with him in the last game, making literally no mistakes. We have in the green, Grubby. He will be facing off against a more than potent opponent known as FXOz, a.k.a. one of the best Protoss in the world.
Grubby has something to say about that, man.
Yes, he does.
Evening the series up 1-1. What a story.
Absolutely. You know, I said it not to be a fangirl of Grubby, but because I meant it. I've watched so many of his games. I really have invested tons of time because he's fun to watch. 2, who does not want to watch somebody improve over time, right? Yeah. And this is a guy you can see hit benchmark after benchmark, and really there is no glass ceiling for him. He keeps shattering them. So you know what? Everyone's like, well, he's from Warcraft 3. Can he do it in SC2? Obviously, Axel proving he has what it takes.
Yeah, just amazing display from Grubby in that last game, showing how good the War Prism can be in PvP, showing how important unit control is, showing how important unit positioning is, and of course the map is MLG Entombed Valley. Of course, Oz being in the top right, Grubby in the bottom left, and this should be a great matchup. Now, I'm wondering, why do you have any idea why Oz chose this map? It's okay if you don't, because this is still a very complex matchup. A lot of people tried to figure it out. I have my own I have ideas.
Okay, well, Axel, enlighten me. Why do you think that Oz chose the map?
So, you know, this map, it's easy to take a natural. You know, there's a ramp leading up to it, a very, very, very long push. So that's something to consider. You can take 3 bases comfortably. Like, honestly, once you get to 2 bases, you're going to go to 3 bases. Like, let's be honest. Like, it's the same amount of area to defend pretty much. You know, relatively close, you only have an additional ramp. But the point is, very easy to get 3 bases. So you said it in game number 1. You said it in game number 2. I forgot which game it was, actually. Where, you know, Oz feels like he's the better player overall. The longer the game goes along, usually the better player will win because there's more time to not make mistakes, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and exploit mistakes of your opponent. Exactly, yes.
So I think maybe Oz chose this map intending to go to a late game.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. You know, cross position will play into Oz's favor in that regard. Even if you just base it on statistics, which I hate to do, because motivation is the X factor that nobody really talks about, but it's one that everybody should, because motivation doesn't care about statistics. And right now, as you were saying earlier, Grubby's got the momentum coming off. The Lone Star class looking very, very good there, looking much improved in Arena as well. But you know what? I have to say, you can't take anything away from Oz. The guy is such a great player.
Yes.
His PvP is immaculate.
Fantastic.
But I almost think that it's a situation where being overconfident can cost you, especially against a player like Grubby.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. It sets the stage for this game number 3. That should absolutely be amazing. Of course, we have Grubby, the underdog. You know, no one's going to disagree with me. Some people may hate me for saying that, but it's true. Grubby's the underdog going up against Oz, the PvP master. He's figured it out. He knows everything about it. And we'll have to see. Oz, obviously, going to be a little bit more careful. I'm wondering if Grubby chose Shakuris because, okay, you know what? War Prisms are great on this map.
Yeah.
I'm going to use it. There's a lot of airspace to utilize.
You know what? I should mention, too, that you say that. On Shakuris, one of the reasons, and if you're new to StarCraft, you can keep this in mind. There are only 2 spawning points. Of course, we're on Entombed Valley now, but we're back to the game on Shakuris.
Yeah.
Even if Oz chooses to expand, he would expand close by air. Now, they spawn close by air, which is even better. But either way, you're going to be able to go ahead and use an advantage by air. So Warp Prism, a great decision at a Grubby, and that's the kind of forward thinking. That's the kind of immaculate play that we see. And if Grubby has all the tools, as I said, to go ahead and win this series, and that would be a huge notch on his belt to defeat a player like Oz.
Yeah, he's got to go through a pretty big wall here in Oz that we'll have to see. Let's talk about the game a little bit. Grubby going for a really fast robo, really fast robotics bay. Now this means fast Colossi obviously, or what he could do here is go for a fast Warp Prism speed, get 2 Immortals out, and then go for some harassment with those. That could be good on this map. There's a decent amount of airspace. You're a long way from your opponent, so being aggressive with the Colossi on base, it can be good, but your opponent can sometimes get enough stuff out to defend against it. So I'm really wondering, man, he's getting 2 Immortals out. He's robotics bay is about to finish. Does he start Warp Prism speed, or does he go for Colossi production?
Yeah, and that will be the question we'll have to see. Grubby, one of those things where now, you know what, he's come off the win, he's forced it to the ace match, and again, we can't see him fall back into that game 1, where he made a couple of different mistakes. Cutting the pro production, not having the battles go his way. It was literally like watching 2 different Grubbies between game 1 and 2, and that's what I'm saying. That's one of those things with a marked player of improvement. That's why I call him a journeyman. It's not always all there every game, but when it's there, it's gorgeous. Oz, immaculate play, super aggressive, makes great decisions. I mean, it's one of those things, Axel, where literally this match could go either way, but I have to still give the favor to Oz.
And we can actually try to crunch that down a little bit. Who is favored right now in this series in this game? Let's look at the tech paths. Grubby going for fast Colossi, still on 1 base. Oz 2 bases, going for Blink Stalker tech. So obviously, as this game goes further along, Oz is going to be more and more comfortable because Grubby's on 1 base. Oz is on 2 bases. Economy is just going to get better as the game goes on. However, Grubby, I think he's going to push 1 base with Colossi behind. He wants to kill Oz right now. However, Oz gets to a crazy base trade. Might be going on at Mortal.
I love this decision out of Grubby. You know why I like this decision? Because the longer the game goes, as I said,
he has to hit now.
Right, this is a great decision though. I don't mind the all or nothing here out of Grubby. It's a tournament play, and it's a good play, but look at the great blink. Did you see the wonderful blink? He just went right around the army of Grubby.
Oz is going to make this fun. He might just go for the base trade. He might just circumvent the entire army of Grubby, but no, retreating back. What he could do is try to isolate that Colossi. Once that Colossi strays a little bit away from his main army underneath him, that's when the Blink Stalkers strike. That's when they blink in, target fire the Colossi, and then all of a sudden Oz has an advantage.
Great decision there by Oz to go ahead and make it look like he was going to push the base, but actually what he's doing here, Axel, is flanking and trying to do exactly what you said. Guardian still Fox, big blink up. There is exactly what we're talking about. That was the flank that we just saw come out of Oz.
All right.
Gorgeous, gorgeous play.
There's still 2 Immortals here. That might be a little bit tricky, but the thing is, Oz has force fields now. Again, it's going to happen. Oz trying to attack from 2 different locations. I'm really scared for Grubby right now. He's down 83 to 66 supply. Oz just playing with them, blinking back wherever Grubby decides to send his stuff to engage. Sending Immortal on his own. Be careful, Immortal. Don't die to the Stalkers.
Oh, no, and the Stalkers are going to see that and actually ignore him for a second before they try to focus him down. Good blink micro there to get away. Don't forget there is a forward pylon also for Oz. Oz very potent. Right now all Grubby wants to do is delay so he can get his expansion up.
Yeah.
However, Oz expanding much, much earlier.
And that's the thing. Oz, he's a good player. He's going to know that this expansion is going down. He's going to scout it somehow. Does that create a timing for him? Again, when an expansion goes down, that gives your opponent an advantage for a little bit of time, you know, because the expansion has to pay for himself. You're investing 400 minerals into this and it has to pay for itself yet. So does Oz formulate a push here? That's something to consider. But look at this, Grubby going for what I said a little bit before, the Warp Prism speed, the Warp Prism is 2
Here we go, though.
He's going to try to do as much damage as he can. However,
the army is on the way here for Oz. Oz smelling a little bit of blood in the water. Also wants to get a look at the composition, wants to see what he's dealing with. Has he expanded? Where's the expansion at? Is the Nexus finished? These are all things Oz needs to know.
Oh, yeah. Force field's going down from Grubby. Doesn't even want to mess with this army as of right now. Interestingly enough, Oz leaving a large majority of his army back home. Then again, that's because he wants to take advantage of these mobile Stalkers, of course. You don't want to have Zealots and Sentries dragging along, you know, complaining about how fast the Stalkers are. And
I love this too. Watch how he just leaves 1 Stalker behind to control that Zelnaga. So very important. Vision, information, anything, any advantage you can get. Of course, Grubby using that Warp Prism warps in. I think he's going to go after that 1 pylon, it seems, with a single Zealot. And we can see Oz right now being very active on the map.
All right, Grubby, are you going to lose this Warp Prism? That Warp Prism is so fast, he's going to fly right by. No, we can't. No, turning around.
almost actually losing the War Prism there. Needs to be careful. If he loses
he smells
that,
it.
that's
Oz
game.
smells it. He wants it. I don't think he's gonna lose it. He can't just like not acknowledge it. Oh no, running right into the stock.
Oh,
the
and that
actually
that could cost him the game.
Oh.
Right there, because that was a unit that was meant to go ahead and keep Oz on the back foot, much like he did in the first game. And now what this does, Oz does not have to worry about the harassment of that War Prism, freeing up his army to move across the map. Now the question is, how much pressure does Oz want to put on Grubby at this point? Does he want to engage in a full-on fight?
He's just going to keep playing with them. Like, keep trying to get Grubby to commit to different locations and blinking out of the way. But Oz is just playing so well right now, really impressing me. Grubby, I don't know how he comes back. He's obviously very far behind. Oz wants his progression. However, I don't think he has any Colossus in this composition, so that could be the one good thing for Grubby. Grubby can obviously use Force Field. Oz doesn't have any massive units with special Force Field, so if Grubby can do that correctly, of course Oz can blink out of the Force Fields, but that's something else to consider. But if Grubby can Force Field correctly, not lose too many units free, he can handle this. I mean, he has the Colossus, he has the massive units, and his opponent doesn't.
Oh, but look at the control of Oz there. So just going ahead and blinking right away, no problem. Has been circumventing the army of Grubby since the first 4 minutes, essentially, when he came with that beautiful flank. And you know what, Axel, I can see Oz committing more and more units to this, and I think it's going to be kill time here shortly. Oz really looks like... Oh my god, all those victories caught, though.
That is exactly what Grubby needs. He needs that to happen a couple more times, and he'll be good. Down 128 to 166 supply. Can Grubby come back to the game? It's all going to come down to positioning of these units. If the Stalkers can blink and get target fire on the Immortals and Colossus, that's good for Oz. If Grubby can micro his units correctly, get a good concave, get his Zealots whacking away at those Stalkers, he's going to be in great shape. It's going to come down to the wire here, Tumba.
No, absolutely it is, and that couldn't have gone better for Grubby. Such a seesaw battle. However, Oz still enjoying a supply lead, and in a mirror matchup, the supply does tell a lot. There we go. Force Field's going down as it looks like it's go time. Zealot on Zealot action. Guardian Shield pop. And right now, Grubby actually equalizing in supply against Oz. So this is such a seesaw battle at the moment. Oz may have actually thrown away a little bit of his lead. However, two Colossus still stand. And look at right now, Grubby trying his best to micro, but oh wow. You can see Immortal coming in as well.
Yeah, Grubby with his entire army.
Well, Grubby does have another Colossus on the field. However, Oz just too much to deal with right now. But it was a great trade there about midway through both players equalizing.
If Grubby kept his Colossus alive somehow, micro them away from Oz, he might have been unstable. But Oz right now in a commanding position, taking out the third of Grubby. Still has two Colossus in his composition, a bunch of Stalkers on the ground, a Zealot going an unorthodox way to rejoin. Of course, he doesn't have the glorification of being able to blink, but Oz is going to go for it right now. What can Grubby do against this? Might have to use Polar throws, but Oz just has too much.
Blink right
targeting down the Colossus. Another Colossus coming forward from Grubby. He does not want this game. He's going to stay in here.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where obviously Axel, you know, he's got this one in the bag. Our job is to make it interesting, but there's really no way to do so. Unfortunately for Grubby, Oz right now free reign over the natural, and with 3 Colossus and the gateway units to support them, that's what's clutch. And really, Grubby does not have the gateway units out to support his Colossus. 4th Colossus now entering the fray, and that's going to make all the difference. As you can see, big blink forward, and there's the GG out of Grubby. But you know what? I got to be honest with you, Axel. In terms of the opening for Grubby, I liked it. I like it because it's a tournament, and you can't always be ABC. He went for a timing off one base. You can't fault the guy for that. He wants to go for the quick win, also knowing that on the long run, he's at a bit of a disadvantage against a player like Oz.
Yeah, what a fantastic series. What a fantastic series. This is one of those, in those threads were like, what games do you suggest from MLG? You select that one. That was an amazing display of control from both of these players. Was the importance of that in PvP. And if I had to pick a key moment in that game, it was when Grubby was doing that push to, you know, to Oz's base. You know, his one Colossus push.
Oh,
and that was the thing, that one Colossus. That's what makes that army so important, so valuable, so good. That's why he did the push in the first place. And then what Oz did, he was microing so well, using his Stalkers, poking in, poking out, blinking out, making, taking advantage of his mobility of the Stalkers. And he blinked in, sniped the Colossus. That was huge.
Absolutely.
And then backed away.
Yep, the flank was great. That was a great matchup, and we'll be right back right after this.
Hey guys, welcome back to MLG Winter Championship 2012 here in Columbus, Ohio. We just saw a phenomenal series between the two Protoss beasts of Grubby and Oz, and we're going to have another PvP coming up next. But before we do that, we're going to jump into the replay of the last game really quick, just to see this moment, this defining moment of the game. As you can see,
let's check it out.
As you can see on your screen, Grubby feeling confident, coming forward, but look at the Colossus. Stalkers coming in from behind, very slowly, lurking in the darkness. And right now, they blink! They target fire the Colossus, take it down, and back away. That's exactly what you have to do right there. Oz is giving himself the advantage, and now, no massive units here. So force fields will be so good for Oz. He comes forward. I'm not sure. I think he engaged there as it comes back to us. But again, that was the key moment, and that's what you have to do in PvP. It's just positioning is so important. And again, the Colossus is like the staple unit of the matchup too. If you lose one of those, you're in trouble. Again, at the end of the game there, Grubby lost those two Colossi. If he kept those two Colossus alive, he might have been okay.
That was a PvP clinic we just saw.
Yeah, amazing.
And so, speaking of PvP, actually, we've got another great PvP coming up for you. Of course, we've got former OGS player, now SK player MC facing off against, I believe it's Sase.
From Quantic.
Quantic Sase, so one of our favorite players, of course. No bias here, though. And I believe we're going to actually have Tastosis cast that game. So coming up in just a few minutes here, Tastosis casting, of course, SKMC and Quantic Sase. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.